See, remember, we're talking about thinking and then having emotion attached to it, and then actions become flowing out of that desire and the thoughts, and those actions lead to habits and destinies. Well, he's saying, don't think that just because I've accepted you as my people, now it no longer matters that you have to still keep your part of this, which is doing what I say. In other words, this is, and I know people don't like that, there's a contingency here. If you, then I. If you don't, then I won't. So when he's talking about here, be careful that you don't follow, serve, or be led, or don't allow yourself to be led by an image that's not the right image. What is the image? In other words, it represents the character. It represents the reputation. So we're told to transform into the image of Yeshua. Is that like we have to go figure out what he looked like and make sure I cut my hair the way he did and make sure my face, it's not about his physical appearance. We're transforming into his character. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be insulting. There is some part of you that goes, that makes no sense. Then what's the point if I don't have to do anything? He's going to change you. He's going to change your personality. He's going to change your habits. He's going to change your heart. He's going to change your mind. Well, then why are you even you? Why doesn't he just have rocks doing this or some other thing? He wants you to do it. He wants you to have the heart. He wants it to be in your heart. He says you are to love your Elohim with all your heart. In other words, your desire should be to please him. How do you read these verses? A word as great as this, and we're told how great the Torah is, and as for so you live, and what nation has these great laws, and then how do we have a mainstream telling you that it's awful, it's a burden your forefathers couldn't handle, and that it's been done away with because it's no good? Could it be that they're talking about two different things? The burden the forefathers couldn't handle is the self-imposed traditions of man, not the Torah. The Torah was never the problem. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with traditions as long as you realize that those traditions can't do one of two things. It can't be treated like it's Torah, like it came from the Almighty if it didn't, and you can't allow it to break Torah. So nothing wrong with traditions. Embrace as many of them as you want, as long as they don't do those two things. Don't go against the Torah, and don't get treated as if the Torah. So don't think for a second where it says in verse 26, I'm going to completely destroy, and here he says, I'm not going to destroy. He's going to destroy the ones in the land, and that whole place of we are here, we're safe, and we're being blessed, that whole thing is going to be destroyed. Now, when you're in the dispersion, he says, no, I'm not going to destroy that. That I'm going to pull you out of. I'm going to have you return to me and pull you out of it, just like I did when you were in Egypt. I'm going to deliver you out. I'm going to redeem you. So now he's saying, let's go back and look at the past. That's where your answers are. New Testament, believers today think that's where the problems are. Look at those dumb Israelites and how foolish they were. Look at how much trouble they were always in. We're so much better than they are. We're so much better, we don't even need the rules they needed. Don't get into that dispensational ridiculous stuff, okay? Dispensation was invented by people that needed to have an excuse and justification for not having to do what was always required. No other group can say they had any kind of experience with their gods like the Israelites can. And you get to graft into that. That's what he's saying. He said, when did Dagon or Chemosh or any of those, when did they do any of these things? When did they ever go and produce in that such a interactive, live way? You heard his voice. Those guys never heard anything out of the rocks, out of the wood. How you think is how you walk. People don't always walk the talk. They always walk the thought, though. Okay? You're going to walk your thoughts. What comes out of your mouth, you might not always do. But what's coming out of your mouth, it doesn't always represent what you're really thinking. It's just what you want the public to consume. It's what you want someone else to understand and believe of you, so you say what you want them to hear. But what you're thinking is is what you're doing. Isn't that what James talks about, Yaakov talks about, when he says, I will show you my beliefs, my thoughts, by my actions. I will show you my faith or my belief by what I do. Because as I think, as I believe, so I do. You're stubborn about wanting to do what you want to do and not about what he wants to do or what he wants you to do. You are stubbornly trying to get him to agree with you instead of you agree with him. You know what's going to kill you? You know what's going to end the whole thing for you? The one that's going to keep you out? That's stubbornness. That's all pride and vanity and ego. But I don't want to. I don't like it. Knock that off. It's going to kill you. Provoking him to his face. If you have called upon him and claimed to be a child of the living Elohim and then go around doing whatever you want that's against what he said, you are provoking him to his face. Because this is a people that you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a people that is walking before his face. There's verses about that. We've read them in Exodus or Deuteronomy. There's a verse that actually says that, right? A people that will walk before me, before my face, panim, or that idea of the face. What he minds is that you're trying to show everybody that what you're doing is his way. Don't misrepresent me, he's saying. Don't you go out there declaring you're of me and then go and do all this ridiculous things that you do. Don't you put on your tzitzit, wear them all over the place, and then have foul language coming out of your mouth or off-color jokes coming out of your mouth or walk into a store on Shabbat and they see you wearing the tzitzit. Be careful that you're representing him. You wear the tzitzit, you're declaring who you are.